Yeah,
Okay.
I'm in the middle of a painting project too.
Okay, all right, so let's get through this. We're called to order. I'm gonna call on you in just a minute. Let's look at the minutes. Any additions, subtractions, corrections to the minutes?
Oh, the minutes.
I want to do that first.
Well,
Looks good to me.
looks good to me. Move to approve the minutes.
And I have fixed all the problems with the minutes not going to the town website. They're all the ones that I was recently doing. I didn't go back to the year
All right.
zero, but I fixed them all for
Good,
this
good.
year.
All right,
In
so,
case anybody cares
all in
about it.
favor of the minutes? Aye. All right, so you can post these minutes. We're good.
And the fellow who sent you back, directions, he typed it wrong. It was M-I-N-T-U-E-S. It wasn't minutes, M-I-N-U-T-E-S. Look in your email.
You're kidding.
No, look at it.
I must have disregarded.
Well, you did disregard it because it actually is M-I-N-U-T-E-S. It's the way it's supposed to be, but that's not what he put in his email.
Sheesh.
So, anyways,
Okay, so
God
we are going
almighty.
to combine recognized members of the public with our Pine Oaks update. All right, so this is Mr. Bob Doan.
Yep.
And I spoke to him on the phone the other day. When we had talked about this as a committee, wanting to make sure that any new building that happens in town, particularly, if it's going to be using town money
Right.
and that type of thing, we want them to be as energy efficient as possible. And I was very happy when we got off the phone because you ticked off pretty much all the boxes.
Yep.
You sound like you're on the right wavelength there.
So
You know all the answers.
So if you want to, recap for these two.
Sure, and just a little background in case you know Pine Oaks Villages. We built Pine Oaks Villages 1, 2, and 3, which are retirement age and people with accessibility needs. That started back in '75. We're going to have our 50th anniversary next year.
Are they all in Harwich, 1, 2, and 3?
They're all in Harwich. 2 are down on Bank Street, which our original 2 were done in '80 and '90. And then Pine Oaks 3 is up by the community center beyond the high school. So in total, we supply 163 rental units that are all subsidized. And so you have to be both age qualified and income qualified to live there. We actually account for about...
Are they all full?
Oh, yeah. We
Yeah,
have
you're on a
about
waiting
a
list.
5-year waiting list.
Oh, really?
you said
Oh,
they're
my-
all rental?
They're all rental, yeah.
They can't buy in then?
No, it's all
Well, these
rental.
are income eligible people. They would not.
Yeah, that's right. It's not, right.
Are these tradesmen or are they older people or what are they?
They're older people. The minimum age is 55 and 60.
Okay, so you're not funding a workforce for Cape Cod or anything?
We are not
On these, the original ones.
the original ones,
This
no.
next one is different.
Yes.
Okay, so these are all for over 55,
Yeah.
but now we're going to go to something where we're going to actually fund the workforce maybe?
That's right.
Come
May I
on,
join you?
You certainly may. This is
Okay.
Bob Doan. He's
How do you
from
do?
Pine Oaks Village.
Yeah.
He's giving us a rundown on the.
You're Deborah, right?
Yes.
The
Very
energy
good.
efficiency, like how they're gonna deal with the energy efficiency for the new Pine Oaks 4.
And
Built.
I'm Deborah Ennis. I'm
Hi,
involved
Deborah.
with the Harwich Climate Action.
Oh, yeah, okay. So,
Where do you want me? At the head here?
Right here.
can you get by?
No, you're good.
Thank you, Glenn.
You and I get the cheap seats.
Yeah, that's all right.
So
Hi,
he
Charlie.
just finished explaining, what the original Pine Oaks villages were for, senior income eligible people.
Right.
And now he's gonna give us a rundown on the proposed Pine
Thank
Oaks
you.
4.
So this is,
Right.
this is Pine Oaks 4 then?
Yeah.
Yes, this is the new village.
I mean, even though it's got a different format now, you're following the same trend, is that the idea?
That is correct. It's kind of what our name
They're a
thing is.
nonprofit. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, we're a nonprofit.
But this time you're not going to go for the 55 pluses?
No. This time, it's going to be all income ranges.
With no age restriction.
I mean, let me say, all age ranges,
Right.
not income.
All age ranges?
Right.
Yeah.
Are they all rental properties?
They're all rental is what we're proposing
Are they all
in this
subsidized?
phase. Yes, in different levels. So for instance,
No income thing, how do you work something like that?
Well, so the issue is that we get state funding to build the units, federal and state funding, tax credits, along with a whole other different sources, the county. One of the sources is if we do green, we get money for that.
Right, as you
And
should.
so we're incentivized to do that.
You get
And-
that from the state, right?
What's that?
The green comes from the state.
Yes, yeah, it does.
And some of
So-
that money probably is federal money
It is.
funneled
It-
through the
it-
state.
Exactly, just like the county money is actually federal
Right.
How
money.
much is that money roughly, do you know?
Well,
Was it 10% or?
you mean the cost of it, or?
Yeah, but what's the total cost of Pine Oaks Ford Village?
Well, the first phase is around $44 million.
$4 million, okay.
And so the majority of it comes from the state and the federal government in form of tax credits, which investors buy the tax credits because they have a high tax load and they put in the money into the project. Then a good portion is straight debt. So we have to borrow money on the open money, on the market, mortgage companies,
Right.
whatever, banks.
How much out of that 44 million do you get from these green community things?
Oh, probably $500,000, maybe $1 million.
Every bit counts, yeah.
Yeah, we have a whole pro forma that's on our website.
Yeah.
Our application that actually breaks down our whole budget.
Okay.
So if you want to really dig
You
into
can go on the website.
and take a look, so. And I think that's on the card I gave out as the web address on the front of that. So,
The card he gave you.
Okay.
so we were lucky enough to put together 36 acres in North Harwich that were all separate parcels of land, and we've put them together to make one big area with access to Queen Anne.
If you go on the website, there's a map.
Yeah. In fact, I think there's a map right there on the handout, the
Is it
last
at the
page.
southern end of that intersection that goes down a hill and the two
Yeah.
roads come like this?
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, it's a,
all these other towns around here come into roundabouts. And if you're gonna have all this traffic in here, is anybody gonna even think about that?
There's a whole
Abs-
traffic study.
there is, the town's
But they
doing,
just can't leave that intersection
No.
like that. That is,
no, it's, what's come clear is by us putting in an application, and we want to do up to 248 apartments, and we did a traffic study, so we know what we'll put into it, and our traffic buddy said that it's not a major impact, but the problem is, it's already bad.
Right.
I know,
So-
it's bad now. You can't see when you're coming down
I know.
Queen Anne's from the traffic coming the other way, unless you get some mirrors out there or
So I'm
something.
trying to
Yeah.
picture where this is. So if you go out here on Oak Street, all the way to Queen,
Oh, you went.
You ever go to dump?
Yeah,
all the time.
Yeah, you-
But my question is once you go out on Oak Street, take a left on Queen Anne, you get down to the intersection,
yep,
you go through the intersection.
right.
And then how much farther down?
It's quite a ways, it's
Quite a ways.
before, it's beyond the disposal area,
It is beyond it.
and it's on the left, and in fact,
It's
do you
on the
remember?
same side of the road as the transfer station.
That's correct. Do you know where the big power lines that cross?
Yep.
That's the beginning of our property. And it's all in the woods going south, basically. So that's where the property is, and we have access, I say, on Queen Anne and Old Main Street.
Right, right. So they butt
Yeah.
either way.
Right.
Do you have plans to utilize both of those?
Yeah,
as
that,
a-
right now, our initial thought was the Main Street access was to be for emergency vehicles
okay,
only.
yeah.
But the select board's made it very clear, and we've had a lot of comments to make it a regular entrance.
Be nice
So
to have
that to
two-
spread the thing, and it's really good for people going to Shaw's,
Right,
Howard Center,
right. That makes
you know,
sense.
the church and all that, because then you don't have to go around that terrible corner.
Right.
So it's going to be up to the board,
Right.
yeah, now I can't think of it.
Select
The
board?
No, ZBA.
Zoning board.
Board of Appeals, because it's not the full qualified width, but they have the power to do that, so.
Exactly.
And you
Tell them to
mentioned,
look at all the other towns putting roundabouts in if they don't
Yeah.
know what's going on here.
I know.
mentioned it's by the overhead lines. Are you gonna have a right of way at all with Eversource or no?
That's north of us, so, yeah, the right-of-way is not on our property. Yeah, so that's totally north and northeast, actually, of us. So in developing this, even from the very first days, we knew that we wanted to do as energy efficient as possible. My background is actually in energy conservation and solar. And in 2010, I oversaw the installation of the largest hangar installed solar system at Cape Air in Hyannis.
Oh, yep,
I think it was 256 kilowatts at the
Right.
time, which is nothing now.
Nothing now.
But it was the largest at the time. And then I went on to actually work with a brand new company to put solar on tractor trailers and moving vehicles to reduce the energy load. Instead of using gasoline or diesel, it would charge batteries during the day, and really good for like the lift gates and refrigeration and things like
You
that.
have to start from a plain piece of paper and design the streets such that the side of the house, whether it's the back or the front, that you want to put the collectors on, are facing due south.
That is correct.
And so you need
Charlie,
to...
he's going to talk about all that, and he's going to, and they are doing that.
Yeah, no, we're doing that. There's one building that's not, but they're all facing south-north or just off of it. So that's already in the plans, and we're definitely going to put solar on them, solar panels to pay for common area expenses.
But then you might want to change this, the buildings are also solar ready.
That's what the architect says, so they don't put on the solar panels.
That's a-
They
that's-
design it to be ready, but
Okay.
no, we're intending, absolutely, because we talked to, there's a couple different companies that will do that for you in a massive scale like this. Yeah, so that, and as I said,
We were also trying to develop this plot of land across from the dump for a community solar energy. And
Right.
Do you know what your net, are you gonna need more energy than you're gonna be?
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
we're wondering if you, somehow, if we could tie the two together, that's
Right.
really what that's why
We
we're...
would need a
Right.
developer for it, but
right,
we talked
right.
about
No,
that
we
briefly,
would,
yeah.
we would offload, because that's the key for someone to come in and put in the solar. They need an offloader.
Exactly, and you
And
could
that,
be it.
and we could be it. Now, it's going to be a long project,
Yeah.
because it's going to probably be a 10-year project, because it's going to
Take
take
it would-
5 phases.
Yeah.
And the state doesn't give you money every year.
Yeah.
You have to get in line, there's a
Right.
lot of competition for the credits. So we estimate every 2 years we would do a phase.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and then there's the complication, because we're over 90 bedrooms, then you have to go to a full treatment plant
Right,
for
right.
total nitrogen elimination reduction. So, you know, and that's a lot of upfront costs. So, you know, this all has to be planned out, you know, over a 10-year period to do the whole project.
You said total nitrogen.
As much,
They can't use a regular septic, and you're
Right.
not anywhere near, we're not anywhere near
Oh,
putting
you're not gonna
sewer
be
in down
connected to the
there.
sewer line out there?
not yet. It's
That's-
not even planned out there yet.
So their septic
Fine.
system will be one that takes out all the nitrogen.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Oh, yeah, no, you have,
Pump that out regularly?
yeah, fairly regularly, probably once a year. You have, to, like any septic
They
system,
would
you
have
have to
like
get
a
the solid
biofilm
waste.
system that
Yes.
would take out the nitrogen. So,
Right.
you know,
Exactly.
These things exist, they're,
Exactly, and the same with our stormwater, it has to be bio-treated,
Right.
and all the stormwater stays on the site, and no runoff to Herring River or anything like that. So, and then in our landscape plan, we even talk about minimal fertilizers, you know, around the building itself and the sidewalks, you have to have grass.
right.
But then you can use alternate materials for your broader areas. And Horsley Witten's very good at not cutting down trees. So they specialize in doing green engineering
Is
projects.
that your contractor?
Yes.
What's the name of it?
Horsley Witten, they're our engineers out of Sandwich.
Witton?
Horsley, Whitten. It's on the handout.
Okay.
So, so that's kind of where we're at
And you're
right
putting in
now.
heat pumps? for
All heat
heating and
pumps,
cooling?
heat pumps, yep, and even the hot water is heat pump. So, and I know that's still kind of new technology, but it's been around,
It's been
so,
around, yeah.
for a bit, so,
Right.
you
Get it-
know,
The key to a lot of this is getting the right engineers,
that's right.
you know, to size it right and get you the right equipment.
One of the things, the early heat pumps I always felt like I was cold in the house with a heat pump. And you have to design the flow of the air in the house so you don't get a wind chill effect. So you
Right.
have a lot of more wind flow than with a gas furnace, okay?
Right.
And if the guy that's designing puts the same kind of ducts in
Right.
as a gas furnace, people are going to feel cold in that house with a heat pump. And so you want to make sure the ducts are designed
Correct.
for a heat pump.
Right, and air conditioning,
Right.
because these
Right.
will have air conditioning.
And that's
Because particularly with passive house, you don't want to open your windows. And in fact, you have to have a whole positive ventilation system, and you got to pre-treat that air. So you get your fresh air in through a separate duct, but it has to be pre-warmed so you don't get that chilling effect. And same in the summer, you don't want to just dump the humid air in either.
What are you doing for hot water?
Again, it's going to be heat pump.
So, but I mean,
Oh, it's,
is it like a tankless hybrid type of water heater?
You know, I haven't
part of it.
actually seen what it is, but what it is a continuous circulation system. So you have a main going down the whole length of the building and coming back. So it's always circling. So when you turn on your water, if you're the end apartment, you get hot water within 2 seconds instead of having to wait because
But I
the
think to
systems
heat the water, they're going to be using
heat,
a
yeah,
heat pump.
with an outside condenser or whatever, and then inside, and
They
then
do make-
obviously electric to supplement it to
Right,
get it
to
hot
get-
enough.
I had a new house built down in Cary, North Carolina, and the hot water tank was put up in the attic on the other end of the building. And I would never get hot water, only for a shower. If I have to wait 5 minutes for it
I
to
know.
come out. So I always wash with cold water because I don't want to wait 5 minutes for hot water. But
Well, no,
my
and-
neighbors solved it by having them put a circulating pump in.
Yeah,
That's
I-
exactly
I
what we're
really-
doing.
I came back to the contractor and he says, well, you waited more than a year and it's too late for you.
Oh.
Even though I didn't know I was supposed to complain about it.
Oh, jeez.
So the one thing that we talked about is appliances, obviously Energy
Yes.
Star appliances.
Yes, yep.
And, you know, they don't know yet about induction
Yeah, that,
versus
you-
resistance.
yeah, I didn't realize that, so that's one of our questions will be back to our induction stoves.
So
I
you don't
didn't,
know whether or not that's part of it?
normally it wouldn't
It
be,
won't be
but.
gas, but.
but-
That's gonna be our next question.
No, no,
So
yeah,
there's-
no hydrocarbons,
So there's no gas
No.
plumbed or piped to the units at all here?
none whatsoever.
It's 100%
No oil, no gas. The only exception will be a generator in the community center. So if you have a power failure, people can come and get warm, charge their phones and things like
Is
that.
that gonna be propane or tied to natural gas?
I have no idea yet. We'll see what,
I was just down in Maryland, we stayed in Ocean City, Maryland, and I picked up a paper there and noticed one of the headlines here. They have an electric mandate for all the new businesses coming in.
Yeah.
And they have a big opposition to it because they're forcing it down on all the businesses to
Oh, yeah.
electrify the whole buildings of
Yeah.
the community then. There's a right way and a wrong way to do it, I suppose, but
Well, the easiest way is new construction.
yes.
Yeah, because then
Exactly.
you're not retrofitting anything, you're designing the building to work as a
Exactly.
green building.
exactly.
Yeah. A lot of times retrofitting can
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
disappointing.
So, you know, one of the purpose, and I'm so glad you called, is because we would love if you would write a letter.
We have
if
one
you agree.
drafted.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
it goes to the
Yeah.
select board and
I've already
the
talked to them
TA.
downstairs and.
Yeah, and just, you know, say that, not that your realm is housing, but it's energy savings.
Right.
And
Are
that's
there
what we
groups
wanna
that are opposed to you doing
Oh,
this?
yeah, yeah. You know, you do have the neighbors, and the biggest concern is the traffic on Queen Anne. And the town is underdoing an independent study because it's not only us, it's the Marsline property that's been awarded for some housing for 60 bedrooms. And then you have that whole issue with Dennis, with that Love Lane,
Right, the old
nursing home,
Yeah.
you know, so.
Eagle Pond.
Yeah, Eagle
Yeah.
Pond. So fortunately, there are separate funds for exactly road improvements for housing and to encourage housing. So we think the town can go and get the whole road, including into Dennis, if they work with Dennis, redone to be able to handle the traffic now and in the future, because it's only going to increase. So that's what we're hoping for at this point.
Is it possible that the whole thing got rejected?
Yeah, of course. The state, we're in the process, the way the process works, it's kind of backwards. because you'd think you'd go to the town first and say, this is what you want to do, present plans. That's not the case. Because we're getting tax credits, first the state has to declare that the site is eligible for funding. Then you go to the town, and specifically just to the ZBA, to hash out all the details. So that's why we don't have all the details quite yet, but we're applying for an eligibility letter, and that's the town is currently, they have to put in comments, all the departments submitted comments, committees submitted comments, and then the state will look to see if it's viable. So they want to make sure we really have the land intact and that the finances that we've proposed look reasonable, and things like green, because they're very up on the green. They want all, they want all the subsidized housing
Yeah.
to be green or
Well,
or
it makes
whatever.
sense because
Yeah.
if the people are living
Well-
in them, you want to keep them as inexpensive as possible.
Exactly. And for us to run it, because
And
actually,
run it, yeah.
and actually your utilities have to be included in part of the equation, because the goal is that a person that's considered low income or moderate income, which is now called the missing middle,
Right.
that's what they nickname it, that's up to 110% of the average median income for Barnstable County.
Which is relatively high.
Yeah, it's like 80,000,
Right.
78,000. The goal is that they never spend more than 30% of their income on housing and utilities. So that's the goal, and that's how everything's priced out. So we'll have a range of houses from what they call 30% AMI, which is considered very low income, to 50% low income and 60%, which is low income, then, up to 60%, then up to 80 is, under 80 is considered affordable or low income. 80 to 110 is considered moderate income. And there's a real hole for that, because people, like a teacher may be making enough money, but they don't have any, there's no inventory of housing.
No, not
So-
at that level.
Not at that level. No, yeah, it's way too much expense, and we hear that all the time, particularly with teachers. They go to
Yeah,
hire a
police,
teacher,
fire, teachers,
all of them
town
fall
workers,
into this.
you
So
know.
what's the total number of units once you go through all the phases?
248.
248. And as far as approval from the town, what is it that you actually need?
So,
Approval from
the,
the select board, from the?
well, the select board helps. That you want them, particularly when you come to the funding part, because once you get your eligibility letter, then we go to the ZBA. They have the control, and they pass judgment on the whole project.
Zoning board of appeals in the town.
Right,
Okay, so they tell you, okay, you're okay as long as you do X, Y, and Z.
exactly,
And then-
exactly.
And then the select board will.
Well, then we put an application into the state for these tax credits and the various funding things. And so what you want with that is the select board says, yeah, we're for this, and furthermore, we've put in some money.
Right.
For instance, we projected that through the Affordable Trust, we would like 5% of the project cost, but everybody else will pick up the rest.
Right, right.
So it's actually a pretty, relatively, when you think about the number of units, it's really not that much money per
What's the
unit.
trust you just mentioned again?
The Affordable Housing Trust,
The town has that.
The town
town
has
has
that.
that.
It's a trust set up. How is that funded? Through taxpayers?
CPC money, the Community Preservation Community, CPA Act, and cell tower revenues. And possibly in the future, I know they've discussed transfer fees on high-valued real estate, so that
lot of
that
towns are
might,
doing that.
yeah.
Well, that's
So,
the
that's-
state, right? Didn't that get approved in
Yeah,
the
it
last
did,
election?
it did, but the town still has,
You
it's still
have-
up to the
The
town.
state says you can do it if you want to, but
Oh.
the town
No,
has to approve it.
Right, they have
So
to.
not every town is
No.
doing
Oh, I
it.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, no, it's not automatic at all. So that's the fundings of the Affordable Housing Trust.
And are you building these with EV chargers in the garage?
Absolutely. Yeah, that'll be on the plans as we do each phase.
The one per building, or how many are there?
We don't know yet because we have no idea what it is, but we'll start with at least 2 per building,
And are they gonna be like level 2 or level 3? or
level
you-
2.
And you
Can't
said
get any
per
level
buildings.
3 ones in there?
We hadn't thought of that yet. Level 3s are still pretty expensive, and the cars don't all, other than Tesla, and a few of those, and probably our people won't be driving too many Teslas.
No.
But they will be
I
driving
think
small
some
electric cars
other
because they
manufacturers are tying in with Tesla to use their level
I
3
know.
chargers
But
in
you know,
the
it'd be good
future.
to have at least the level 2s there
And we're gonna put extra ductwork in because you want to put that conduit in before you close up the ground.
But
So
you
we're
said
gonna
so
have-
many per unit, so are they gonna be outside?
They'll be outside, yes. They'll be out in the parking spots.
Well, there's no garages.
No, there's
And are
no,
you prepared for the typical, this is low-income affordable housing, they can't afford electric vehicles question to come up?
well, I'm sure it will,
It
but
will.
don't forget that we are also moderate income. So, and, you know, so, yeah, I mean, we'll put them in because the state mandates it.
Believe me, I believe in playing devil's advocate because I want to know all the questions that are going to be coming my
Oh,
way.
yes, that's
I'm
right.
an advocate for them, but I also know the questions that'll be asked. So
Right.
It's
I hope-
mandated, you gotta do it.
Yeah.
And moderate income people can afford, maybe not a Tesla,
Maybe they can get a used one for.
but
Well,
yeah,
that's
there are
it.
more used ones coming on the
There's
market.
supposed to be.
And that's the answer, but I'm just
incentives
saying
to buy
that when you
used
wind up
ones.
getting that question,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You're
No,
prepared
it's,
for
And
yeah,
besides, the government is mandated that in 2035, they're gonna be all electric vehicles. You won't be able to buy a gasoline
You
vehicle.
can buy
after
them, they just can't be new anymore.
yeah.
yeah.
No new gas vehicles.
Okay.
There'll be still the used car market will continue.
And Charlie mentioned earlier, we're considering community solar
Right,
here. That would be on Queen Anne,
right,
and you guys would be a viable.
off-taker.
Right, and that might sweeten the pot if a developer already had
Mm-hmm,
an off-taker right
Mhm.
there.
right,
I like
know.
this. I like the fact you brought him in because that's a
Yeah.
great selling point.
yeah.
We're trying to push this, and we can't get any buyers for it, so.
Oh, no, no,
Well,
I-
everything takes.
Well, you know, I think you should talk to the Affordable Trust because they may be interested in partnering with you to say that let's build it and then it can be for every affordable project in
Right,
town. Here's solar that you can buy and include it. So it might be, you know, something to help you push it
I'll
forward.
contact them and see if we can.
Yeah, it's Larry Ballantyne.
You mean more specifically than the Pine Oaks, just
Right,
the whole.
Yeah.
for any affordable.
Do you have a viable email for Larry?
I don't
Okay, I'll have to
offhand.
check.
I'll have to check.
Yeah.
I'm sure I do.
I
but
used
don't know.
his town email and I never heard back from
No,
him.
because it's disconnected, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so I
So
don't
I
have
can-
I know
Are
him,
you
but
a paid employee of this?
No, we're all volunteers.
Wow.
The whole board is volunteers. We have hired a developer that has done projects. He did Yarmouth Gardens, for instance. He did some work in Mashpee, but he does a lot of work off Cape. And so he's very experienced on how to work around these grants and everything.
Copy of what he handed out.
Yeah. Did you have an extra brochure too? Did you,
I'll give you the one I was gonna give to.
oh, no, I got plenty.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that just gives a quick overview.
So what's your anticipation of a timeline for this? Is this something that you see being a break ground in 2026, or, I know you don't like to promise a date.
No.
But I
If
mean,
everything went perfectly groundbreaking, early 2026, and move in fall of 2027.
Wow,
I
that's good.
That's if
I
everything goes-
suspect.
no, I agree.
I
understand.
don't think it'll be
understand.
that good, because, you know,
always hope.
no, that's what you shoot for, and then you might
You're
miss. but
projecting
it'd be
it,
only
that's
a
all. You
year.
don't know what's gonna slip.
Yeah.
Well, most
Yeah.
schedules do slip, but if
Absolutely.
you don't have some kind of a game plan to
Right.
play to, then
Exactly,
you
exactly.
won't aim there.
But I'm assuming the state won't be a holdup other than bureaucracy taking time to
Well,
review stuff.
Actually, it's more than that, because all the towns are competing for the same dollars.
Okay.
So quite often, you don't get it on the first application for the funding.
But we're a social justice community,
Yep.
so that should be a plus in our
Okay,
favor.
well, that's good to know, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a designation from the state.
Yes, it was determined by the last census.
Right.
And it's not the whole town, but there is a section, it's not
right.
Queen Anne Road, but
It's just over the line,
Right.
it's
yeah,
on
so if you go
Depot,
to the-
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, in fact, we have to, that's right, because we have to file a special report and have a
Right.
hearing on it.
So that
Because
might-
they're within 2 miles or a
Right.
mile.
And it's income based, you know, there's a lot of reasons you can be a social justice
Right.
community, ethnicity,
Mhm.
income,
Right.
that ours is more income
Right.
based. And, so you would think that the state would want
It's extra points.
subsidized
Right.
housing to accommodate,
Right,
a community that already has people that have been designated as
right.
in need
Right.
of
You mean
assistance.
we're poor? Is that what you're saying?
Just one part.
So,
South of 28, no.
no.
Well,
And
thank
nice.
you, Bob.
Sure.
Anybody have any other questions for Bob?
Yeah.
We will,
You're Bob Doan,
Dome, yeah.
D-O-A-N-E.
D-O-A-N-E, yes.
and I hope to have
The Rock.
you back as the project
Absolutely.
goes on and give us updates, and we're very excited about the fact that this will be pretty much a state-of-the-art
Thank you.
green build, once it's done.
And one thing, Bob, that I'm interested in is, obviously you guys have cranked numbers, so you know how much electricity you're gonna need
Right.
after, you take it from your own solar panels.
Right.
I'd like to know the numbers,
Okay.
and if you could just break it out like per phase.
Yep.
And that way, when I
Talking about
put some,
kilowatt hours, right?
so
Yeah.
if you can give me something like that
But-
per phase, then that's something that when I finally can put something together to go to the select board, be able to say, hey, if we dovetailed community solar with this project, they're gonna need X, Y, Z kilowatt hours, and
On
based
top
on,
of what they're already producing,
yeah,
yeah.
based upon the amount of
You need to
acres.
separate it out from what you think you're gonna produce with the solar panels. and plus-
Absolutely.
Plus,
Which is-
there's still gonna be a shortfall probably when you get out. Are they gonna have individual meters for each house? or each-
I believe they are just for your extra TVs, and things like that. Maybe run the fans.
Not lighting or anything, or heating, or?
No, the heating's going to be, I think that's all included, other than the fans.
There's no individual meter, everything's electric, so there's no individual meters for all this other stuff?
No, because it'll be a community meter. That's where the solar's going to go. So the one to generate the hot water, that won't be charged per apartment. That'll just be taken as an overhead of common area charge, basically.
And they're trying to make it
Then
as
the-
easy as possible.
Then the meters won't, the charge for the power company shouldn't be very much then.
It won't be. I don't think it will be.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it'd be good to know what the difference is, but what you make and
Yeah.
what you need.
You ought to use that as a
I'm
selling
sure
point.
you've
These
already
people are
got it.
gonna say, I'm gonna, all electric, what's my electric bill gonna be? You're gonna say nothing,
Just
or
basic.
zero, then that's a big selling point for this thing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean,
I
we're
don't
not
even know-
paying for
do
your
you
hair
see- do you
dryer
say
or
that in this
anything.
brochure?
No, probably not. That's just an
So they will be
overview.
charged for, like, what their TV draws, or what their fan draws,
The
but the
TV
bulk
and
of
fan
it.
is not very much at all.
Right, exactly, and so I think, and I don't think that they need, you have never needed to advertise this, so I don't think,
No,
once
no,
this
no.
thing is built, they will come.
Oh, no,
you know.
it's-
I think you're gonna be
they're
back into a
all
waiting list, just like you are
Huge
for
waiting list.
all the
Yeah.
other phases, all the
Yeah.
other parts.
All
of-
the others in the different towns have huge waiting
As
lists.
far as what I asked for, you've already got it.
Yeah.
Because you know how much each unit's gonna draw.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
How much the solar panels in each unit's gonna provide.
Absolutely,
So
yeah.
it's just a simple number
It-
that you have somewhere on a spreadsheet, somewhere
Right,
already.
it will be. Probably not quite yet but it will be by the time we get to the board,
Right.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do is convince the town that we should pursue this community solar.
Absolutely.
That there will be people who would benefit from it.
absolutely. So,
All right, thank you.
Great.
Bob.
Fantastic, thank you.
well, thank you for the time and the audience. And again, if you have any questions, my email's there. Just drop me an email. So, very good.
Thank you for taking the time and coming
Oh,
to talk
no,
to us.
absolutely. Well, of course, I'm very interested in this committee because the last 15 years, that's what I've been doing, so.
When are you scheduled to meet with the select board? Anytime soon?
Well, we've been having the meetings
All along, yeah.
all along, and last night, they were starting to prepare the letter to the state.
Yeah, that's why we've got to get our letter of support.
Are you
in
doing this all
quickly.
single-handedly? or do you
No,
have a
no, we
committee?
have a committee of 12
And
people.
And if something happens to you, did
No, no, no,
somebody
no,
else
no,
is
no.
gonna stand in there?
Oh, my God, yeah. No, we got plenty of people. No, we got 12 board members.
Okay.
4 of which we call the core group that specifically work on this project. We meet literally every other day.
Oh, okay.
But great thing for Zoom.
Right.
We love Zoom. But particularly as it's very active right now in the
Right.
permitting.
Right.
You know, there'll be long stretches where we'll be hurry up and wait
Right.
type thing, so.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Alan.
sure thing, thank you.
Deb, you have anything that you need to bring
Yeah,
up?
I just wanted to come back and follow up and thank you for, you know, your support about being on board to get Harwich to think about having a sustainability coordinator. And just some research I've been doing and some questions I have.
Okay.
So there's a the state 2021 Act creating the next generation roadmap for mass climate policy. And so some of the towns are drawing on that for a guideline. Does Harwich have in the town strategic plan,
We'll be out by 4.
is there a climate protection action plan? But that exists in the state?
The only one thing that Harwich voted on specifically, it was a couple of years ago, and all the towns pretty much did it, is declaring the climate
Declaration of climate emergency.
Yeah.
I was the one who brought that
Yeah,
forth.
so that,
And
as far as I'm.
that happened in 2020.
2020, I knew it was a while ago. Other than that, we don't have any climate action plan, we don't, the town doesn't, I mean, not officially.
Right, okay. So there's not a comprehensive energy reduction plan?
Well, we're a green community, and
Right.
that kind of guides that
Right, some of
process,
those
yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
Deborah, this is an article I just cut out of the Harwich Chronicle, and it talks about Orleans is setting up $100,000 fund on the.
I have that article also, yes, I have
So other
that.
communities
I have
local
that.
to
Oh,
us
yes, and
aren't
I'm
doing
doing
stuff
some
like this,
research.
except for Harwich.
yeah, I know.
It's
And
an
that-
exception, okay?
Right, I understand that, Charlene, that's why I'm doing this. So like when I read the description for the Falmouth Sustainability Coordinator, some of the things they were gonna work on is to make sure Falmouth had a municipal vulnerability preparedness. Do we have anything like that?
Now, I don't think we have anything like that we have voted on and have made
Right.
official.
Right,
If you talk to town department heads, like natural resources or, people like that, they might be looking at, like,
there's a department
what
called
are we gonna
Natural
do at Red
Resource-
River Beach, every
Well,
time it
I was
floods?
walking on Red River Beach, and I was thinking about that very subject, and they already are started that. They had this one wall where the cars park, and that would, if I saw all the sand that was pushed in on Longbow Key, and it was pushed in 3 feet in some of these you need blocking things. Then they got a big berm on the other side where it's all sand, it's about 6 feet high, and that's a natural berm. And they need to do that all along the whole beach area there,
Well-
so where the sand doesn't come up in
So-
somebody's yard and all that stuff.
So
when they have
the
the
point
surge
being is
wave.
that individual departments that have to deal with it,
Right.
like the Department of Natural Resources, beaches, the people that do the beaches,
DPW.
DPW, those people, they may have,
Right, but not as a town.
exactly.
Right, and so the town doesn't have a climate change vulnerability assessment and adaptation.
Years ago, I don't have all my stuff with me. Years ago, they did, the town did participate in one of those, day-long brainstorming sessions about vulnerability and blah, 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 blah. I don't think anything happened with that.
Okay, so
I
maybe I
will-
can remind you and you can.
Yeah, I'll look for what I found, what sort of was,
Yeah.
what they did, the
Okay.
document that they
But
produced.
my
but-
point is that, so my plan is to compose a handout with information that says, this is what people in this position are doing in Falmouth and Barnstable and Natick and Acton and
Right.
towns
Orleans.
that have it. Well, that's just newly developed.
They
so
haven't done anything
They
yet.
haven't done anything yet. But to say, and then to first say what they're doing in other towns, and then why does Harwich need
Right.
this position? And to say Harwich doesn't have, and to match it up with things that are being created in other towns so that they're eligible for funding and from the state and other places, and that Harwich doesn't have. Okay, so I wanted to ask you if Harwich had any of those things. Is there a strategic plan that was developed?
I have no idea.
Okay, but
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
ask, like,
The selectman's office.
right,
yeah.
right. So I wrote a letter to, and I sent it to 3 select board members, Don, Julie, and Jeff, to say, I have some thoughts and ideas about things related to climate change. Do you have office, do you have hours? I'd like to meet with you. And the only one I've heard, I just did it last week, but the only one I've heard back from is Jeff. And he said, you should take this to the select board. This isn't, to a Monday night board meeting. This isn't a topic that can be addressed in a one-to-one meeting.
You're just looking for information,
Yeah.
so I would think that somebody would sit down with you.
Yeah.
And all you're doing
I
is
just
poking
wanted to
around to get
share
information,
ideas,
of
right.
what the town's doing.
But he
So I agree with
rejected it.
you, and I know what you're doing. You're looking to put together a list of all the things that each town on the Cape is doing with their sustainability manager and their sustainability programs.
Right.
So that when you make a sales pitch to have a sustainability manager for this town, you can say, here's the 20 things that are being done
Right.
in all these other communities, and there's a value of X, Y, and Z, and Harwich should be especially interested in A, B, C, and D. I know what you're thinking about,
Yeah.
and I support that 100%.
Yeah.
And I think
So Glenn, would you consider, I don't have a committee of 12 people to be working
We
on
don't
this
either,
with.
yeah.
Right, but would you consider being a sounding board for me, like that I could contact once in a while and just say, this is where I'm at and this is my
Well,
question?
because he's sort of living it right now with the Chargers.
That would be so helpful. Just give me your number and I'll put it right here.
Oh, actually, that's what I'm doing for you right now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Because it would.
Or
part of the reason-
email,
Part of the reason I came is I'm kind of slacking. I mean, I work full-time, I have a lot of
Right,
other things,
right.
and I want to get this done. I found out the deadline to get an article submitted for the town meeting warrant, the deadline for that
For the
is.
spring?
For the spring is February.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was mid-February or later February. Thank you so much.
And if you want just to, sometimes, I've been with Val once in the library. There's plenty of
Okay.
spaces around, so instead,
Yeah.
if you think it's gonna be a half an hour type of thing,
Right.
just let me know and I'll meet you
Okay.
at the
That
library
would be
or the community
fantastic.
center.
That would be
you know,
fantastic.
Whatever works for
I
you.
just need a
I'm
little
retired, I'll go anywhere.
support and, just now hearing you say, I get what you're doing, and rephrasing it was really helpful, so that's what
And
I'm here
we'd
to ask.
definitely, would be willing to, sign on to any kind of
That's the
letter
other thing.
or proposal or,
That's the
that
other
type of
thing
thing
I wanted
to
to
make sure
ask.
that, that, because we
Because
do
that's the
believe-
other thing
We would
he said.
endorse whatever you're proposing.
Well, that's the other thing, he said, go talk to the climate and the energy committee, it's like, duh, I
Yeah.
have. So, I haven't heard from Julie or
You won't.
Don. That's
It's
too bad.
interesting because Dawn is our liaison.
I know.
We've never seen him.
But don't one of them have some office hours? I asked Danielle Frenier.
Jeff is supposed to have the office hours.
Okay, I think Julie has.
'Cause I
them.
think
I'm
they
working
advertised that into the,
And
why don't
Danielle's-
you just
I
show up
asked-
at his
Just
office
show up.
hours?
That's what I would do.
I
then
know,
without an
but I
appointment-
can't find them. I asked Danielle what they are. She said it's on the website. I can't find it on the website. I'll have to ask her again. Okay, that's
And I'd be
it,
willing to
simple.
go with you if you wanted a second person.
Okay.
You know,
So
Oh,
we're
that
just trying
would
to
be
find
great.
out what
Just
exists
because we're
right
just getting
now.
information.
So can
Right.
you just tell me what committees exist, how are you
doing-
thinking
no,
about all
I-
this?
I mean,
Everybody
just
else in
like
the
I
world
told-
is thinking about this climate
I
action.
told you
What's the town of
what
Harwich
Joe
doing?
told
Tell
me,
me all
which
that.
is you're doing it.
Yeah.
Right, but you
But we're-
aren't doing it because you're not authorized to, and
Well, I
you
mean,
don't
we
have
can,
that
we can,
kind of power.
we can support the town in getting something.
Right.
But we can't get it, I mean,
Right.
we have no budget, we are an advisory.
yes, I
Committee.
understand.
Yeah,
I understand.
so-
Well, I appreciate
But we,
your
yeah, we appreciate you.
support and
Yeah.
enthusiasm. I'm going to keep plugging away.
Yeah.
And by the way, my partner Bob Weiser is producing this concert this Sunday at 5 at the 204.
Oh,
John
okay.
McCutcheon,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry, I don't have 3, Charlie. But John McCutcheon is an old-timer singer-songwriter, topical things about everything from, you know, resisting war to climate stuff, and good storyteller. He was here a year ago, and really well received. So if you don't have anything to do Sunday at 5, come on down to the 204.
How much are the tickets, do you know?
25.
25, okay.
Yep.
Do you know who does it just like this? We just saw Judy Collins, and now she doesn't sing for half of her concert. She
Right.
tells stories for half of it.
Right.
And
We
the
saw
crowd is
Judy-
okay with it.
Yeah.
You know, the crowd is
Yeah.
okay, they like the
nice thing
stories.
about the 204 is it's a lot more intimate
Right.
than where you're going to see Judy Collins.
So I will also try to hunt down what the office hours are.
Okay,
And
if
I can
you find
email
out,
you
yes,
and,
please.
you know, I'll try
Right,
to.
and we have each other's emails,
Right.
and we have
Right.
each other's, and now I have your phone. Did you put your email on here?
And I got all the minutes online.
And I got the minutes, thank you, Charlie.
We just had to.
Yeah,
Find the right
so you know
address.
how to do it
You
now.
needed to poke me with a stick harder, then I would've gotten done faster.
Right, but you figured out how to get them
Yeah.
posted
Yep.
correctly?
Everything worked
Great.
out.
You know, isn't it interesting? You're left-handed,
Mm-hmm.
you're left-handed, I'm left-handed.
Only people in our right minds.
Wow.
The Red Sox
That's-
are trying to get rid of the left-handers
That's a
because they
pretty
need a
high,
right-hander.
that's a pretty high percentage of people
My,
at this meeting.
Considering it's only the 10%
My
population.
nephew,
Right.
my cousin went to a Catholic school that one of the nuns back then.
Yeah.
This has been 50s, tied his left hand behind him.
Yes, I know.
Because he was supposed to write with his
Right.
right hand.
No, they didn't do that to me. I went to Catholic school also. They let me stay with my left hand.
Thank you, Deb.
Okay, nice to
We'll be
meet
in
you
touch.
again. Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm gonna skip Cape Light Compact updates and CVAC updates, because we can do that another time. Let's talk about, we did get the series of emails, you know, between you and Joe and all of that. So he is now taking the reins as far as.
He is.
And,
You know, I had reached out, he had asked me, hey Glenn, what engineering firm is doing it for Orleans? So I reached out, I called somebody who looked like they would be the right person. They said, no, you know, it's going to be Mark Reel, who's the town manager. So he never got back to me. Now I find out why he didn't get back to me, because Charlie was doing the same thing,
Right.
reaching out to him, so he's going, who's this Mimic guy? You know,
Right.
since Joe Dory talked to him.
The-
So I'll give you this, Charlie, you can just paraphrase a couple sentences out of this. Glenn, there appears to be duplication of efforts. I didn't read that one. He's been conversing with Mark Reel.
Are you
the
looking at
assistant-
my, what do you?
No, this is what I got back from Joe Powers today. And like I said, you don't have to write anything down, I'll just give this to you.
Oh, okay.
He's been conversing with Mark Reel, the assistant town manager for Orleans, because they're putting in exactly what we're putting in, which is a single unit, dual lead, level 2 charger. There's even a picture of it on their website.
But they
Mark
got
and I-
12 of them in Stop and Shop in
That
Orleans.
Stop and Shop, and that's even on their website, it mentions that. If you just do a search on EV charging stations on the Orleans website, it mentions that. Mark and I have had 2 previous discussions on his efforts in Plymouth and Orleans and plan to meet this week or next to discuss best practices and vendors. Additionally, I reached out to Sean Clancy at Maverick to discuss the previous plans his firm drew up for EvCon. I hope to meet with Sean remotely this week or next. Generally speaking, I have all the proper contacts and I'm working to secure the appropriate plans to move forward. We're still on track for the installation of a single level 2 charging station with 2 ports in the schoolhouse lane parking lot. No dates, just that.
Can I have this?
That's yours, yeah. Just like I said, take a sentence or 2 out of that for your minutes.
So at least it's.
He's
still-
doing something,
He's doing something.
and I'll just keep calling once a month,
Yeah,
and that
yeah,
way
and
you'll
that's-
keep it rolling
yep.
along.
We need to, what's your foot in the door? We need to keep pushing. Now we need another one next year, another one next year.
Well, that will be part of it, I will do that.
Now, I did send out that letter of support.
I have no corrections to it, I think it's
Okay, all
fine.
right. I'll get it, then I'll get it to the right people. I think, you know,
Are they gonna purge us from the board for speaking up?
No.
no.
And for CVAC, I'm not going to go over the CVAC meeting that we
Right.
had, but I went to the Board of Assessors.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at, I put down a transfer station, TS is the transfer station. That's the address on Queen Anne for the transfer station. And then I took, so obviously the 2 other ones that I highlight in yellow are the properties that are on either side of the transfer station, because I want to say that it's the land that's abutting but I haven't had anybody tell me that officially. So I'll go to the,
Yeah, find out.
I'm gonna
yeah.
go over to the,
For some reason,
I
I remember
thought it
it
was
being
across
off
the
of
street.
Forest. I think it's across the street.
Yeah, I thought
You
it
think
was.
it's across the
I
street?
think- I thought it was
Yeah.
across the
if
street.
it's across the
It was-
street, then I'll
Yeah.
go through this and I'll find a
Yeah.
couple others.
Didn't they have that when they were going to the green community on
Yeah,
a map?
Well, I put that in my email
Right.
to Joe saying, hey, I'd also like to know.
Right.
He
Where
didn't
is this?
respond to that at all.
That green community thing, I think with the application for that.
Yes,
they-
there was
they
a little
showed
map
the-
and
They showed the
everything, yeah.
map in there, and it was on the opposite side from the,
Right,
from the,
Well, they've got books of all the
Yeah,
maps,
yeah.
and I'll go and I'll pull out that one.
and it's supposed to be
book.
all treed or something or other,
Only partially treed.
partially treed. Nobody wanted to cut down any trees,
But
so you gotta put it up higher than the trees.
they're all scraggly pine oaks, and I mean, like pines, pitch pines, and I'm not sure how much carbon they release.
Exactly.
You know.
Exactly.
All right. So because we do have to get out of here, and I know you got to go. It says next meeting. That's supposed to say November 19th on the agenda. So if you could, at the bottom, number 9, next meeting, November 19th. It's on the.
Is that right, or?
November 19th is correct.
And are we still sticking with the 3 o'clock?
Yep.
How much longer are you working?
Oh, I just like afternoons.
Oh, so
I'm done working.
you're done working?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so if it became a burden to be here in the afternoon.
No, I like it.
Yeah, so, we used to be at 7 o'clock at night, and that I found excessive. So, November 19th is gonna be our next meeting. I will make sure that I send that to Jacqueline corrected. And if you check your calendars, if anybody has a huge conflict with that, when are you heading south?
Well, I showed you what the community looked like.
Right.
I've rented it for January, February, March, and I've already paid for it. And they said that they're looking, maybe have to give me a full refund because they think it's gonna be 3 months out before it's even back to even livable. And plus the fact that they're gonna take 3 months to get rid of all the debris in the streets
So
out
you're
there.
gonna stay with us for the winter?
Well, no, but it's possible. If we were thinking of maybe going to Arizona or something
Right,
like that,
right.
but I've already paid for this, so I don't.
You gotta get your money back.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Right.
I wish I did, but.
Right. So you might be here in November.
I'll be here in November. I'll be
Okay.
here in December, and I'll probably be here in January.
Okay, good. good.
So,
So, meeting adjourned at 3:50, let's call it 3:50.